Why is the yellow bastard yellow? Why does his blood stink like something decomposing? And what's so unsettling about the cannibal Kevin? The answers to these and other strange questions from Sin City are in this video. People come to Sin City with wide eyes, but they never leave. Like a casino, this city always needs a winner. It doesn't care whether that winner is a righteous cop or a sadistic maniac. In Basin City, your life isn't worth even Marv's soaked and ruined liver. And yet, even in this cursed place, the ones turning the handle of the city's meat grinder eventually feel what it's like to be the meat. This video is a deep dive into the antagonists of Sin City, drawn from some of the most famous arcs of Frank Miller's comics. Miller also co-directed the now cult classic film adaptation. As fate would have it, these villains became some of the most vivid and memorable figures in comic book cinema. And yes, we'll also touch on some of the protagonists and anti-heroes who cross paths with them, because there's a lot to talk about. The rest of this video will focus on key storylines from Sin City, with special attention on the villains. The term bastards, used frequently throughout, comes directly from Frank Miller himself, particularly from one of the most well-known story arcs, That Yellow Bastard. It tells the long and tragic story of what might be Basin City's last honest cop, John Hardigan, and his war against the corrupt and monstrous Roark family. In the original comic artwork, Hardigan is about 60 years old, big and grotesque enough to rival Marv himself. With just 1 hour left until retirement due to a bad heart, Hardigan isn't thinking about his 30 years of service. All he can think about is the terrified face of 11-year-old Nancy Callahan, who's being held captive by the pedophile sadist Junior Roark. Hardigan has seen the bodies of the killer's 3 previous victims. The horror in their lifeless faces haunted him. Taking on the Roarks is suicide. That's made clear across the entire Sin City series. But for Hardigan, trading his life to save the girl is a fair deal. In Sin City, though, fair deals mean nothing except to Hardigan. He knows exactly what's coming. He's steeped in noir fatalism, and yes, Sin City is noir to its core. You remember what happens? Hardigan rescues the girl. He shoots off Junior Roark's ear, hand, and most importantly, his genitals. But Hardigan takes 8 bullets to the torso from his corrupt partner's magnum. He survives. A team of surgeons patch him up, but one detail stands out: the advanced medical equipment surrounding him. In Sin City's dark, stylized world, you don't see tech like that. This isn't about mercy, it's about cruelty. Hardigan is being kept alive by the Elder Ror, who pulls the strings in this city. Because for the Roarks, death is too easy a punishment. The Elder Ror frames Hardigan for the assault of Nancy Callahan. He mentions that his son, now a mutilated eunuch, is in a coma and can't wake up. But we already know what's happening. Roark will spend every penny and political favor to restore his son. The next time we see Hardigan, he's being beaten for a confession by a huge thug. According to the comic, this beating has lasted almost 2 hours. The dialogue implies he's been punched in the groin and possibly even shot in the stomach. For 8 years, Roark fails to get a confession from the cop. Those 8 years, Hardigan waits like a kid at Christmas for a letter from Nancy, mailed under a false name, but no letter comes. And 3 months later, something unforgettable happens. Hardigan wakes to the stench of death, like a corpse rotting in a dumpster on a hot day. Like raw meat left for weeks in the backseat of a car. The stench comes from someone with bright yellow skin, a deformed skull, and warped facial features. It's Junior Roark. 8 years after being mutilated, he's back. His first strike nearly knocks Hardigan's head off. We soon find out the Roarks tricked Hardigan into pleading guilty and taking a deal. They needed him out of prison to find Nancy. Not because they were hunting her specifically, but whoever had been writing to Hardigan all those years. Too late, Hardigan realizes what's happened, and Junior goes after them. Hardigan notes Junior has learned to shoot and hit hard. He shoots him in the neck and drives him off the road. But the stench remains. The source? His yellow blood. As for the skin color, the most obvious explanation is jaundice. However, extreme jaundice would also cause the whites of the eyes to turn yellow, which Junior doesn't have, and it wouldn't affect the blood. Still, jaundice caused by liver failure or red blood cell breakdown is the most plausible cause, especially considering Junior likely underwent years of failed experimental treatments. When Junior finds the heroes at the hotel, he brags that his father hired the best doctors in the world to regrow his missing parts. Not just prosthetics, but actual regrowth. It's unclear whether these body parts were grown in a lab or directly on him, but the comic suggests the latter. He refers to his genetic wizards and alternative medicine experts. This implies the Roarks used cutting-edge bioengineering to regrow even their genitals. Remember Manute, the pain specialist and bodyguard fanatically loyal to his masters? He lost an eye during the A Dame to Kill for events. Some fans believe his golden eye might have been bioengineered the same way. The theory is controversial but worth mentioning. Junior also suffers from baldness and hormonal imbalances, possible side effects of the chemical treatments he received. In the comic, the contrast is stark, a skeletal upper body with a bloated belly, hinting at failed tissue regrowth. His body was likely breaking down, leaking bacteria into his bloodstream and giving him that overpowering stench, the smell of rot. Eventually, Hardigan finds Nancy again. He saves her, mutilates Junior once more, and smashes his head into the floorboards. Then, moments later, he fulfills the promise he made to himself years ago. The girl lives, the old man dies. Before this, we meet one more Roark family resident, a man calmly reading religious texts while his relatives torture and murder people nearby. It's hard to feel sympathy for the victims of cannibal sadists when you're enabling them. Enter Kevin, the silent and deadly cannibal with clawed gloves and a permanent smirk. Kevin first came to Father Patrick Roark as a young boy, tormented by guilt. The source of that guilt is never stated, but we can guess his first kill. Over the years, his urges became ritual. Roark and Kevin began referring to their crimes as perfect love. Their victims, prostitutes, their method, cannibalism. The Hard Goodbye arc shows how Kevin and Roark framed Marv for the murders of 6 women. Goldie, a top-tier escort, grows suspicious, follows them to the Roark farm, and disappears. Kevin kills her while she sleeps beside a drunken Marv, who wakes up framed once again. So Marv does what he does best, follows the bodies. His search leads to the Roark farm, where something shocking happens. Kevin silently takes him down. When Marv wakes up, he finds trophies of Kevin's victims, their preserved, untouched heads, and his old acquaintance Lucille, who had also been tracking Goldie. Here's where we learn the worst part. Kevin forced Lucille to watch as he ate the flesh off her severed, cooked hand. At least he waits until his victims are unconscious before cutting. Lucille came to on Kevin's kitchen floor, already missing her hand. We don't know how much Kevin forces his victims to watch. Maybe the others were conscious as he slowly devoured their limbs. Marv eventually breaks free and returns to settle the score. Armed with cuffs, barbed wire, rubber hoses, gloves, gas, and an axe, he prepares to hunt Kevin. Kevin darts through barbed wire unharmed, which annoys Marv, a fan of barbed wire's ability to slice flesh. But the handcuffs taken from Old Town prostitutes do the trick. Marv chains Kevin down, saws off his limbs, and uses tourniquets to stop the bleeding, mostly. He lets just enough blood leak out to lure Kevin's pet wolf, which usually eats the leftovers. Kevin never screams, not when the wolf scatters his guts, not when Marv saws off his head. He stares at Marv until the very end. Kevin, like Miho and Manute, is something else, a being that feeds on souls, not flesh. Roark wasn't speaking metaphorically, and whatever gave Kevin his strength, it wasn't God. Kevin's death brings Marv no joy, not like killing Father Roark, whose long screaming end felt like justice. Sin City isn't just a tale of scummy neighborhoods, it's about how endless night can push even good people into darkness. Which Sin City villain disturbed you the most? Kevin, the yellow bastard, or someone else entirely? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.